Hello. In the second video in the SISEN demonstration series, what we're going to do is I'm going to explain how SISEN is normally used. I will introduce the 3 available scenarios and demonstrate the interactive and direct launcher modes. And we'll also explain the main launcher options and show the unified dashboard during normal operation. We'll also look briefly at how the details of the packet capture and the traffic analysis, but we will look at those separately in a separate video later on. So, first of all, let's try to introduce the 3 scenarios. So, we're going to open the terminal again. So, we're continuing from previous activity. So, SISEN is already downloaded. All what I need to do is to go to that folder because SISEN needs to run all the comments on the GitHub repository, README files and documentations. Assume you are in the root directory. The root directory, since I have it installed in desktop, is this. So I can verify this and you'll find that I am in SISEN. So I can run all my comments from there. And SISEN currently provides 3 main scenarios: smart building IoT, medical IoT, and 6 low-pan industrial IoT. Each scenario represents a different communication architecture, operational context, but all 3 support the same general teaching workflow. So you will have launch the environment, observe normal behavior, capture the evidence, execute attacks, examine the resulting system effect, and consider, of course, the system, the safety implication and hazard. So let's try to, so as I said, all the comments in the SISEN documentation assume you are in the root directory. So every time you open a new terminal, you will need to create the environment. So I'm going to create the environment, the Python environment. So no need to install the dependency file because they're already installed. All what I need is to create the Python environment. So setup.sh, and it will say, if you notice, it said it already exists, but in any case, we created it just to make sure that it's there. So now we are ready to, obviously, to launch the SISEN. So we will look in this video at 2 different ways to open it. The first one is to launch it using the interactive mode or the interactive launcher. So I'm going to type Python 3 launch underscore SISEN.py. It's going to ask me for password the first time because this is a new terminal. And then it asks me about the available choices. So it asks me without looking at these scenarios now. It just asked me about 3 different scenarios, and it's telling me basically these are the scenarios that exist for the application. Now the first scenario, the first option is the IoT smart building. And this scenario represents basically connected buildings, zone, publishing, environmental, and operational telemetry. Depending on the selected number of nodes, your dashboard will show you different things like temperature, humidity, air quality, occupancy, gas state, or other different room temperatures and specifics. The second one is the medical IoT. Obviously, medical IoT means it's simulated patients and wearable devices basically through a BLE to Wi-Fi gateway. So it's a Bluetooth to Wi-Fi gateway. And the dashboard displays patients' vital signs, for example, alerts, device state, or maybe, for example, a fall or a panic mode, and so on. And the third option is basically the 6 low-pan industrial IoT scenario. This is where you have a 6 low-pan network for IoT devices in an industrial environment, constrained low-power devices, communicating using IEEE 802.14.4 communication, 6 low-pan adaptation, obviously IPv6 and border gateway, and MQTT forwarding, basically to forward that to the Wi-Fi gateway and so on. The dashboard represents all the industrial assets in that example, for example, boiler room, process line, loading bay, and things like this. These scenarios are different, but as I said, they are presented through one launcher and one dashboard. So let's try to the first scenario. So I'm going to select the first scenario. I'm going to press on 1. And then it asks me which access point I want to use. So at the moment, there is several different access points. There is open access point, hidden SSID access point, WEP access point, and WPA2 PSK access point. I'm going to choose at the moment the open access point, which is basically the default mode. So I'll type 1. And then it asked me how many sensor nodes I'm going to use. And I'm going to choose 4, which is also the default nodes. Basically, there's 4 sensors, that means. The interactive collects all the information that I entered, and then basically the scenario starts. The terminal will display the scenario status. You will find when it's ready, and then any relevant operation, for example, any relevant commands for the Mosquito subscription or for the dashboard will be presented in your browser, in your terminal. So the dashboard will be available, as you will see in a second, in localhost 5000. I can see it open anyway. So I'm going to open it here. So that's the dashboard. That's the 127.0.0.1 5000. And you can see here, once it's finished running all of the different sensors and all the different network namespaces and so on, you will see them created. And now it's ready. You can see a few things. You can see that this is the full command. This is what we actually run in the background. We will look at this later because we can do that manually. These are the dashboard location, localhost or 127. And this is the logs for the dashboard itself. This is the logs for the launchers, for 6LoWPAN, and for smart building, basically. At the moment, we need this smart building one, and this is the Mosquito one. This is the subscription where you can subscribe to the MQTT sensors here. And if you want to stop it, press Ctrl+C in this terminal to stop it. Now, if you look here in this on the dashboard, you will find quite a lot of different information that are quite useful. So you have the access point running, and it says it's open access point. That's the SSID of the access point. That's the IP address of the access point. And it says it's running, and there's 4 associated stations. That's the 4 nodes that we chose. You'll find that the MQTT status is also connected. It's connected and it's working on port 1883 through the whole SISEN. MQTT is going to be publishing on 1883, and all the sensors are online. And you can also see now here the 4 different sensors. You have sensors for different rooms. Basically, we just created different room names and different information. For example, temperature, fire alarm, occupancy, gas leak, humidity, air quality, smoke, CO2, and so on. Sprinkle, emergency exit, gas leak, occupancy, and so on. So these are basically now, at the moment, it's running in a normal operation, so there's nothing malicious happening. And the dashboard is showing the real values of the that sensors are sending, basically. Right, so as I said, there's also capture guiding and student commands. These are commands that you can use to capture and to attack this specific scenario. We'll look at these later on anyway. So we're going to stop it. So I'm going to press Ctrl+C. And I can do the same with medical IoT. I would choose the same values. And you can see straight away that it changed. Access point is now it's running. MQTT is disconnected for a second. We'll give it a second. Now it's connected. And you'll find there's 4 variables, and now they're connected with the associated station. And you can see now they started presenting normal variable medical information, heart rate, SpO2, blood pressure, fall, panic, battery, and whether the variable is connected or not. Again, you run quickly the third one. And the final scenario is the industrial 6LoWPAN scenario. We will use the same number of nodes and open access point for now. And again, if you refresh it, you'll find the access point running. MQTT is disconnected for now, and then it says connected, and online the different rooms and different areas for the industrial process monitoring. And again, you have machine overheat, you have emergency stop, pressure, gas leak, occupancy, and so on. So these are the three different scenarios that we currently have in SISEN. And we can stop that for a second. Now, this is the interactive mode that we've seen. Now, sometimes you can run that application. You can run SISEN without going through the interactive mode, specifically if you know already what you want to run. So, for example, when the required configuration is already known, and when you're repeating a practical activity several times and you don't want to go through the menu, you can simply start the scenario using the options of the command rather than the interactive mode. So, for example, I'm going to launch SISEN, but this time, instead of running it through the interactive mode, I'm going to choose using -- scenario. I'm going to type building or smart building. Let me just make it bigger. And then I'm going to choose the access point. So -- mode open, and then -- nodes and 4. And I'm going to put capture hint, so it shows exactly what it was showing when we run it with the interactive mode. So this is quite straightforward. The scenario name, the access point, the nodes, and the capture hints. And I'll press enter. And if I go to the scenario again, I will find that it started the open access point for smart building. And at the moment, there is no associated station. Now they started to connect one after the other. So that's the first one, second, third, and fourth. And once they all connect, then you started getting the telemetry data. And the capture guidance, because I put capture hints, so it's going to show me these. If I removed it, they will disappear. So there's quite a lot of different options. So, for example, if I was running medical IoT, I will need, instead of nodes, patients, because obviously it's about the patient data, and the patient station, the wearable, will collect several different data instead of one sensor. And for you to see which one, what does it have, so you just type Python 3 launch _ SISEN -h. And that gives you all the different, that's a help. It gives you the interactive pause before traffic. You can pause it. No wait for testing. You can just go through just to see whether everything is working or not. Capture hints if you want to print the captures. And then it tells you which access point there is. Open, hidden, web, WPA2, and Mac filter. Mac filter doesn't work for all of them, only for smart building. But there is a reason for this. It's documented in the GitHub documentations. There's also the nodes, number of sensor nodes to create for smart building or 6-LoWPAN. The valid range is from 1 to 10. More than 10, you will need a really powerful virtual machine. So we kept it as 10 for now. Scenarios, again, for patients, patient number of medical IoT patient wearable to simulate. Default to 1, valid range is 1 to 10. Scenarios are the 3 different scenarios: smart building, medical, or 6-LoWPAN. If you don't put the scenario, then the interactive menu will be shown. And finally, stop SISEN launcher manager, manage labs, and dashboard process. So if you don't, you've noticed that basically when we press Ctrl+C, it will stop them by themselves. But if you are working on a different terminal, for example, you are conducting an attack and you want to stop it, all what you need to do is to type launch _ SISEN, Python 3 launch _ SISEN -- stop, and that terminal will stop. So this is for this video, we've seen the different the three different launchers options. We see the scenarios and the two different modes of running interactive versus non-interactive mode. We've also seen how you can run it for particular activities. So for example, if you think about the normal SISEN workflow, you would need to start the required scenario, observe the dashboard, and establish normal behavior, and then you will inspect or capture the relevant communication path. And then you will start executing controlled attack where required, and then you observe the effect on telemetry, and then system state, and then obviously you'll need to give it time to recover, record the evidence, and stop the environment. And the tool itself does all the cleanup of everything that you have done. So in the next video, we're going to look at how we can capture the traffic, what we need to look for evidence in that traffic, the attack execution, the wireless infrastructure activities, and how we can document everything that we are doing. So I'm going to stop this video for now, and we will do the next video, the traffic capture and observation, and we'll move from there. So thank you very much.